Hi everyone, it's Steve Passanelli with Tech Savvy Agent. I'm here with Mike LaFave. How you doing, Mike?
Good, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to do this interview here because we had such great feedback on our Facebook page about choosing a photographer. I do a lot of posts about do-it-yourself photography, but we always recommend here at Tech Savvy Agent that you hire a professional. Yeah, we're still going to teach you how to do it on your own because there's cases where you might not be able to get one, something happens, you need to have those skills, but we do recommend hiring a professional, and that's why I wanted to have Mike on the show because he is a professional. So Mike, why don't you just give us a little bit of background about you and we'll go from there.
Sure, Steve. I started in real estate as an appraiser, moved on to a sales agent, and always had a passion and a hobby for the creative side, the video and the photography. And just last year, kind of launched that professionally. I use that in quotes. I just need to get paid for it. We're all still learning, but
Yeah, that is correct.
it's
That is
another part of my business.
So basically what we wanted to do here is we wanted to go over all the questions that you, the agent, should be asking when you're evaluating potential photographers, because it can be quite a daunting task. So the first thing we should start off with something basic is what type of photographer should you be looking for, Mike?
Well, as you know, Steve, there's all different kinds of disciplines of photography. You know, some people specialize in weddings or portraits or landscapes.
Hmm.
I think it's important to find somebody, and there are phenomenal wedding photographers who may have never shot real estate before, and
Hmm.
that may not be their strong suit. I think it's important to find someone who either A, specializes in architecture or real estate, or else has a strong portfolio in that line of work. You know, they're familiar with it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm a wedding photographer, and I tried shooting my house, and I got to say, I know my camera inside and out, but I had some issues, and it definitely is an art. There's a part of photography that's a science, but there's another part that's an art for sure. So if someone's going to evaluate a potential photographer in their area, there's probably a lot of choices for them. What type of questions should they ask the photographer?
Yeah, I think a good place to start is their website. You know, you just got to get a gut check and look at their portfolio. There should be a couple ooh and ah moments in there. You know, you see
Hmm.
some photos that you love, and if they pass that test, get them on the phone, and then you can start asking the questions. And we'll go through a few of them. I think an important one for real estate agents is the turnaround time. You know, a
Hmm.
lot of agents are scheduling these photography sessions right before they go online. So you want to know how long it's going to take from when you shoot the photos to when I get them back. You
Right.
know, some clients I meet, we shoot the house a week before, which is great. Never takes me that long. But then some other clients are like, so when can I have the photos? And I say, well, when are you going live? And they say, well, whenever I get the photos, So it's good to know up front. Just set the expectations of when that turnaround time is going to be.
Okay. Any other tips for questions?
I would ask if they offer different size of photos.
Okay.
It would be a very different size of photo that you would use for, say, on your MLS
Right.
that you might use on a nice big printed brochure. So they should be delivering you a few different size photos, one that's optimized for online viewing, and then another one that's optimized for print.
Good
That's
point.
pretty important.
Good point. So you mentioned a portfolio, and obviously, as an agent evaluating these photographers, you want to look through their online portfolio, as you said, see if there's pictures that jump out that they really like. But are there some things that they should be looking for that they might not know to look for that signifies that, hey, I'm dealing with a professional. This person knows what they're doing. They have the equipment that's going to do the best possible job.
Great question. I think one of the big things to look for is something we call converging verticals. And that's something that you might not notice right away, but the weird thing is that subconsciously your mind
Hmm.
notices it, and it can mess you up. If you look at a photo and there's two walls of a room that seem to head towards the meeting at the top somewhere, your mind knows in your head that those are parallel walls and they don't ever meet. But depending on the angle of the photographer and the lens that they're using, sometimes those vertical lines get skewed a little bit.
Yeah,
Uh,
keystoning.
Keystoning, yeah. A professional photographer will take the shot well to begin with, but will also really tweak that in post-production, in the editing. We'll be able to straighten up those lines. So whether you notice it or not, you don't get this kind of unsettled feeling that, wow, the room looks like it's falling away from me or falling towards me. You know, it's one of those things that you don't maybe notice right away if you're
Right.
not looking for it, but it does make a big difference. That's something. Just check all those vertical lines, the cabinet lines, the fridge line, the walls. Are they all lined up very straight?
And what about things like barrel distortion? I know a lot of agents probably have no idea that a lens is obviously it's a circle and there's a curvature to the lens and it makes some straight lines bow. What should they be looking for there, and what exactly is that?
Yeah, I mean, like when we're shooting real estate, it's important to use a nice wide-angle lens. We want to get as much of the room as possible in that lens. And depending on what quality of lens you're using or the way you take the photo or how wide you open that thing up, if you look on the outsides of the pictures, if those straight walls, again, start to look a little rounded and barreled on the corner, that's another indicator that, you know, there may be some more editing or work that could be done to straighten that out, because it also gives you kind of a unrealistic feeling of the room. You
Yeah.
want a nice wide shot, but you don't want your walls to be curved.
Yeah,
But you
absolutely.
want to look on the outside ends of that picture.
So, what types of extras or add-ons should be included in a photography package?
I think a good one to look for is some kind of presentation that they offer, maybe with the photos. You know, they're going to give you the 30 or however many photos you agree to, but a lot of photographers add a nice presentation. And I hesitate from calling it a video because it's not a video, but, you know, a slideshow with transitions, maybe some music set behind it that if you're not doing a video, it's a nice placeholder. It's better than nothing, you know, and a lot of photographers will offer something like that. Like our MLS up here, there's a place you can upload videos. If you don't have a video, you can upload a nice slideshow. And
Yeah, and that's important because especially on sites like Realtor.com and some of these national listing sites, they have a drop-down option and it's sort by homes with videos, and that's one of the most popular sorting options on these sites. So even if you don't have a video, which we recommend creating a nice video, hey, that slideshow at least is going to give you more exposure on those sorting options. So
absolutely.
how many now you said 30 photos. How many photos should they request?
Well, I like to, our MLS up here maxes it out at 30.
Okay, so that should be the one you want then.
That's the one that I use. I love to max out as many photos as they're going to give you. And you know, a lot of the broker sites, the main Sotheby's site or the main Caldwell Banker site, I think even offer more than 30. But minimally, you should be maxing out what your MLS offers.
Okay. So now to the last question, which is probably the question that everybody is waiting for. How much should it cost?
Right. Well, I guess the cliche, you get what you pay for, is cliche for a reason, right? Costs can range across the board. There's actually an industry inside blog called photographyforrealestate.net. It's just a group of real estate photographers.
I've been there.
And they've gone so far as to calculate how much you should be charging for a shoot in order to just be a viable business. You know, some people can charge $50, $75. Honestly, I don't know how they can make a viable business on that.
No.
You know,
No,
you think about calling a plumber up to look at your sink or something. Just to get them out there, it's $100, $125.
Yeah.
So I would suggest that the cheapest might not always be the best. You know, this is a service professional that you're hiring to perform service for you.
And it's an art.
It is art. There's a creative aspect to it
Yeah.
as well. And at the end of the day, if they do their job right, it's going to market your listings a whole heck of a lot better.
Yeah, $50 or $75 that you're trying to save there, the home could sell for thousands more if and that's a fact. The Los Angeles MLS conducted a study about the amount of photos and quality of photos, and the home does sell for thousands of dollars more if you do a great job with the photography. So
Redfin did a similar study too. I'm sure you've seen that one.
yes, yeah, actually I have.
Great figures, man.
Yeah, and the other thing is, and not to knock anybody, because everybody has to start somewhere. You know, when I first started in photography, my prices were really cheap. I felt I still delivered a great product. So, you know, you got to start somewhere. But if someone's charging $50 or $70, you know, they should have equipment that most likely costs around $3,000. They probably went to some type of schooling. You know, maybe they went to college for. Maybe they're taking classes, but that costs money. The time to drive out there. They are not making money if they charge that amount, and they're going to be out of business, or they're not really a professional charging that price.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, so I would expect, you know, $100 or more for a professional photographer to come out and provide a quality product for you.
So you have obviously your own business, Meeting House Media, meetinghousemedia.com. I recommend everybody go there and check it out. You're in Massachusetts, correct?
Correct.
Yep. And is there anything you want to say to close out before we leave?
You know, I'll give one secret tip, Steve, that, you know, might help some agents out a little bit.
Okay.
And it's a question I think you can ask a photographer once you're in a dialogue with this person that you might not totally understand, but just asking the question is going to get you maybe a little bit better product. Mm-hmm. Once you've found someone that you like and you think you can work with them, I would ask them if they use multiple strobes or an HDR exposure fusion technique, which sounds like gobbledygook. You might not even know what it's talking about. All that means is it's the way you light the mm-hmm. picture. Photography is all about light, and there's a couple ways to go about it. You either bring a bunch of the external strobe lights, those little flashes that are on the camera, but they're all remote around the room.
Right.
Or you take multiple exposures of a room, you know, an overexposed one, an underexposed one, and then you blend those together to get the best lighting of the room. Not that you need to know exactly the science behind it or how it works. I think just asking the question alone puts the photographer on their toes.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that 100%.
They realize, okay, this person knows a thing or two. They know what they're talking about. I'm always going to do my best work, but now I feel a little subconscious pressure to do just a little bit more.
Nice.
That would benefit the agent, I think.
Well, I appreciate the tips that you provided our fans here today. I appreciate the time that you took out of your day. Guys, go check out his website, meetinghousemedia.com. And thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you, Steve.